And I'm thinking, what the hell? And then what happened was, I think, because I moved it around, because I see in here, there's the washer and dryer. But before the guy came, there's all the old campaign signs in there. And I originally had the campaign signs in here, but I was like juggling it. I must look at this because I find out from the guy who came, that's the relay. Who knew? So I think one of those wire things shorted it out.
Probably, yeah.
But this, right. So then before he came, I went to the wall and I put him in there. He's like, one didn't say anything, right? So then this kid comes yesterday, right? This kid comes yesterday, and then he takes this all off, right? I don't know why he took this off when he, this is open. But he took this off and then changed the circuit board. Then he took this all off. I never even see behind the screw wall, so if it ever goes again, all I have to do is unscrew and put the fuse in. So that's all it was a $2 fuse. Well, not really $2. There's 6 of them in the thing. It's probably like 30 cents a fuse. Can you imagine?
Nice. Now I get a capper for this. So I went to dinner. I went to dinner with my mother and my grandmother yesterday, right?
Oh yeah, that's why my rug's like this. Cause my parents come and eat here and they drop things. So when they both pass on, I replace the rug because they keep dropping things. Gave up. You know what I'm saying? My dad's spot when he dropped the soda, then my mother drops the thing. They're 80, so you know what I mean. They go, oh, I didn't see it. So I'm not replacing the plugs until after they're long gone. I want a white rug. And look, in the last 10 years I've been living here, they put a lot of spots when they come. And Shotzi too, because you remember I sneak my little dog in. Because no pets allowed. But my phone barks like Shotzi. And now when it's cool, I always have the doors open so they know. Oh, so then the fan went on. As soon as I put the fuse on, I thought, oh, I got to turn the power off. Then it never cooled down. They go, oh, don't tell me you put that ring on. It turns out when he pulled out the circuit thing out there, it never pushed it in right. And as soon as I let it run like almost 2 hours, I'm thinking, I know it cools down within an hour when I leave, because when I leave I set it to 80 and then it comes down. So then, why is it not cooling down? So I went back outside and all of a sudden the fan was there and I said, that's not right. So I pulled out that circuit and pushed it back in and all of a sudden I heard the compressor going and within an hour I'm back in luxury.
Nice.
All for a fuse it could have been. I feel like you can't eat a chip.
No, I'll get used to it. It's gonna be like
I'm just casual. I got my fancy shirt on. Special occasion. Oh, so this is the phone I got, see? And I'm still learning. Remember I called you about 4 times? I didn't even know I was calling you. But this is the new Alltel phone. You have Alltel?
No, I have AT&T.
Oh, get Alltel. Because you know why? This phone, it's brand new. This is the newest phone of Alltel. It's $229, but with the rebate, it's $129. And it's worth, oh, you can turn it back. See, it has power save. There's a little button right there. Now put it back on. And then there's a way to hold that down and the thing, hit back. But it's nice because what I love about it is because I used to have Comcast cable for high speed. Now I run my cable through there. $10 more a month. It's costing me $100 a month, and I have high speed for my laptop. And I can take my laptop anywhere. When we go on the road now, I can take my laptop and the old. Come here, I'll show you.
We'll have to check the connection speed on that.
Because I just want to show you how to. Because I just want to end that. Because I see there's the phone. See, it says last call. And for some reason, when I go backwards, sometimes it dials you. But with the Bluetooth, which I discovered, so with the Bluetooth, I'm sorry, we don't need the light on.
No. Go ahead and drop the tripod down so that we're at eye level. Okay. So you're not.
And whenever you're thirsty, I have glasses in the freezer, all chilling down. So.
That's a host.
Oh yeah, they're nicely chilled with the ice already in them. I used to be a flight attendant. You can move those flowers. I see this thing.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be in there.
I didn't know where we were sitting, so I just figured. All I know is
the light.
All I know is I gotta hide the heavy. I actually went on my treadmill today, so that's a good start.
There you go. Yeah, I actually got a little exercise. The first day of Ramadan is always the hardest.
Oh yeah, I felt bad because then I heard your message. We could have canceled till tomorrow. You should. When you called, I was shaving, so I couldn't get it. And
it's no problem. It's no problem.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's just.
Well, you want to be with your family.
Well, my family aren't Muslims, so.
Oh.
So it's we might go to the movies for Labor Day or something later. But yeah, what I was telling you. So after I got off the phone with you yesterday, I went over to my mother and my grandmother's house to take them out to dinner. And there was a fan sitting out in the living room. I'm like, what's with the fan? They're like, well, we didn't want to tell you, but the AC broke Saturday night.
Well, isn't it funny? All of a sudden, Saturday was a bad day.
Yeah.
Because, I was carrying the signs, and then my superintendent, the building guy, he said, oh, I could put some in the shed. So I lugged some over there, but then I kept some here because over the next year I'll be changing them again. I have the whole series of 2, 1, and now pretty soon 4 if I run for commissioner of the district 4. So I keep changing them. So then I lugged it and I said, well, I first figured I would put it in by the air conditioner because how often do you go in there? And then I didn't realize I must have hit that switch because when the kid came, he says, oh, he goes, let me check the relay. And I'm thinking, what's that do? He goes, well, that keeps it, shuts it on and off.
Right.
I said, oh, one of those spikes must have hit it.
Probably, yeah. You gotta be careful with those metal.
But what a moron, because he should have known he should have checked the fuse first.
Yeah.
But they were trying to sell me everything. When I told them, listen, every part that you replace, I want to keep them so I can show them to my Superman super. So if they're not good, you're putting them right back in again. All of a sudden, he stopped putting parts in. I'm a New Yorker. You can't sell me the Brooklyn Bridge unless I really need it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then I was so happy once I went back down there and reshoved it back in. The cool air finally came. It took about 4 hours. I'm thinking, why is it taking so long to cool down? How long does it take to fill up the tank with Freon? And I'm thinking, well, how come when I go out for the day and I set it up and I come home, it's about 8, it comes down within an hour? So then it dawned on me that he never pushed it in correct because his boss said, well, leave everything the way it was. And I went in and I shoved it in and out. And I should go in the air conditioning business now and know a little bit about that. I'm thinking.
Now you learn how to change a fuse. Now you're set.
I tell you.
Well, speaking of business.
Yes, so tell me everything we're doing.
The campaign business is what we need to talk about here.
Yeah.
So basically.
So you're running against Bert Saunders.
Bert Saunders, right?
Oh my gosh, so this means I'm not going to get a birthday card next year. Because remember how I always see him, I said, Bert, you'll send me that birthday card.
I'm sure you'll still get a birthday card.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the one question I had is I don't know how the rest of the local Republican Party is going to feel about you working for me.
Well, I'm the flip-flop. I always say at the events, you hear me, I'm the new Republican, I can be the old one again. I don't really believe in parties. I only did it because I wanted to win, because I believe we need solar programs and we needed movie industry. That was to the laptop.
Okay. So, well, I know there was a, I wouldn't.
I always, look, I'm not voting for John and I'm not voting for Obama. I may be voting for, Ralph Nader. He saved us from the Corvette, and I had one. If you need towels or anything, I got plenty of those.
Oh, thank you.
You got plenty. And when you want your cold soda, you let me know.
All right.
And a chip. You're taking those chips home with me then, because I'm supposed to be on my diet. But no, I was a no party guy. You saw it right there.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I ran no party.
Well, the dynamic of this race.
I just feel bad Bert Saunders won't be sending me a birthday card.
I'm sure he will. The dynamic of this race, basically what we have is, we have myself, of course we have Connie Mack, we have Bert,
right.
And then we have Robert Neal.
Right.
So we've got a weird dynamic for this race where I think anything is possible theoretically this year, and this race in particular, because Bert, no doubt about it, he's going to split the Republican vote.
Mm-hmm.
How much he splits the vote, that's the question.
Because he was a Republican originally, right?
Yeah, he's a lifelong Republican.
Right.
He's been in office in one capacity for like the last over 20 years. So.
Are you for oil drilling?
No.
Me either.
Yeah.
And he is now. Did you hear him at the Alva?
Yeah.
Because that's where I heard him say it was in Alva.
Yeah, and then also in Fort Myers, he brought it up as well.
Right, and he brought it up at the Lehigh Middle School. That's where I actually heard it, in the Lehigh Middle School when it was so hot.
Yeah.
It was miserable. Remember I was out in the hallway. I didn't realize the hallway was cooler than the auditorium. That's when it should have the fundraiser.
Yeah, that's right. It came up in Lehigh and Fort Myers, because that was, I tried
I couldn't believe it.
That dang analogy that never came right out.
Yeah, because I would push that, because I am so opposed to oil drilling, because point A1 is that how do you know it's even going to be serving us? It's going to be sold to the highest bidder, so it could be sold anywhere. It could be back in Germany.
That's the point I raised at those forums. There's so many things. In the Gulf, there's about 8 billion barrels of untapped reserves that they already have the rights to. What they're talking about is another 4 billion barrels. Now, we go through nearly 11 million barrels a day. So basically what you have there is you have less than a year of oil for the United States, if they get that.
And if it's sold in the United States.
Yeah, exactly. If it's sold, whatever company...
Go to Germany.
Yeah, it's going to go out in the open
Look
market.
at the Alaskan pipeline. It goes to Japan and China. What is it doing for us? Nothing.
Now, it's such a tiny fraction of oil, it's probably not going to make a price... it's probably not going to make a dent on the per barrel prices. And then the other thing, and Bert brought this up, and this is something we need to counter in mind, is the pollution concern that everybody talks about is that if there's an oil spill. Well, an oil spill is only half the picture. An offshore oil rig over its lifetime puts out about 900,000 tons of waste.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that is metal shavings and all sorts
Right.
of stuff. Now, the deep sea is a little more forgiving of that.
Not
But
the Gulf.
as you get closer and closer to the continental shelf, when you get on the continental shelf, not only is that going to wash up on beaches, but that's also going to wash up on the reefs. That's going to have a real impact on the
I'm just
on the
against
marine
it.
life.
You know,
Yeah.
keep it in New Orleans, where it is, and over there, because I believe that if Florida's focus is tourism,
Mhm.
why would you want to gamble with tourism that's
Exactly.
bringing? And we could be bringing, we could be solarizing ourselves, which we should be doing. And in Germany now, all the cars are getting a solar panel on top. The Germans have started
Oh,
that
really?
already.
That's interesting.
Yes, so the solar panel will charge the battery as you're traveling. The whole city of Munich runs on solar. So I don't get it. If they can do it with snow in between in their seasons where we have sunshine all the time, I don't understand why, that's why I wanted to run, to get those solar problems. And
Yeah, and solar is one of the,
easiest things to do.
it's a big issue in Congress right now because, I mean, the Senate still has not, never did pass the solar credit.
I know, and they never will unless you change people.
Yeah, so, and
That's
this is
why
the
I'm so
problem.
shocked they didn't re-elect new commissioners.
Well, this whole thing with the offshore drilling, this is basically the same exact scam that
They tried in the 70s.
Well, and even more recently, this is basically what's been going on with energy prices is the Enron scam.
Well, that
What
and-
they pulled on California.
right.
Essentially, I mean, it's a little more obviously, it's a little more.
And you can't tell me that
complicated.
Kenneth Lay is dead. I don't care what they say. Well, he was healthy as an ox all during the trial. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, he's dead. Please. I want to see, it was a closed casket, so anybody could be in there, just like that real estate tycoon that we had here, Frank De Lorenzo. Please. He has a yacht in Gulf Harbor, and he goes out in a canoe at 10 o'clock over Jersey. Please. Sell that to the person that wants to buy the Brooklyn Bridge. I'm videotaping that because, I'm having a big argument about that.
My family's Italian.
Oh.
So,
All right.
So I could say this with authority. I'm a little question of a guy who made millions of dollars, an Italian guy selling real estate in Florida who disappears in
In
New
Jersey. Right. Please. He disappeared the minute he heard that poor Jessica's Stillwell, husband is going to prison. You know what I'm saying? I mean, please. He's about as dead as Kenneth Lay. Please. I just can't think.
You think there's a club fled somewhere? Where
Right.
They're all
I'm
hanging
sure
out
even
together?
Saddam Hussein is alive. Jay Leno said it best when they first found bin Laden. The point is that he had all these bodyguards that looked just like him.
That's 100%. Yeah.
Right, Saddam Hussein, and that's what Jay Leno said. Can't they even just find one look-alike, and then all of a sudden they found one, and then they said that was him, and now he's dead? Really? I think him and bin Laden, they're all sitting on the French Riviera drinking Mai Tais.
Saddam, I think we got.
Well, maybe not the real one, because he had all those bodyguards. Remember, he was swimming the pool, and there was a body double just like him. So how do you know? And all of a sudden, I think Bush and Cheney, and I know those two are up. They probably said, that Jay Leno's right. With all the lookalikes, you could just take a lookalike and say it's him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're not going to find him in the cave with all his money. I don't think so. I just think he's still. I think the whole thing is nonsense. I hate the corruption of it all. That's why I want change.
And that's what we got to do.
Mhm.
One of the things go ahead and take a look at our website. I got the platform.
Oh, I
up
went
there.
there. That's how I knew you were running against Bert.
Yeah, well, we've got the platform up there.
I didn't realize that. There goes my birthday card.
One of the first things that we've got to do. You didn't notice all the debates, the forums that we kept going up one after the other.
I did. I did. But then I was dealing with my new phone too. So
got
between the new
distracted.
phone and then calling you 1,000 times, I'd go no. And then sometimes it makes the noise that it's ending, and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, I tell you, that new phone. But it's a great little phone. If you go with Alltel, once your system comes up, if you're not.
Okay, back to the camping.
Oh yeah.
I have a feeling I'm going to be saying this phrase a lot. Focus, Gerard.
I know.
So what we need to do is we were talking about this on the phone, and like I said, I'm not the greatest opener, so we need that's your first job when we go out to campaign events. Also, like I said, is I want somebody, I want another person on camera, so hopefully we can do more.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
A little more entertaining videos, and we got some back and forth.
Right.
We can talk about the issues and everything on the camera, and then that way we've got.
Especially the oil drilling.
Yeah, the oil drilling, but a lot of issues that what we need to do is we just, we'll talk about them as they come up. But I want to make sure that, that we have somebody who's more representative. I mean, you're coming from the Republican Party here, so someone who's more representative of a lot of people in the area. So when we have these discussions, it'll make people feel a little more comfortable. I mean, the other big thing, what I'm really hoping to do is I want to steer if we have a debate, we're planning on having a debate.
Is Connie Mack going to ever be in any of them?
Connie Mack. Well,
I know he lives in Palm Springs, so that's the problem right there. You know what I'm saying? You can't live with Mary Bono, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Connie Mack hasn't showed up for one event yet.
I know.
And Bert was the first one to issue the challenge for a debate, and he said, none of you are viable candidates, I'm not going to debate you. And then he got slammed. We put out press releases. Bert Saunders' campaign put out some press releases, and he got slammed. So he backtracked on that a little bit. He said he didn't say no. They'll see what happens.
I think he's pushing his luck because just like Eric, the mayor, they both treated me like I wasn't in the picture, and I said to them, "Don't count any chickens before they hatch." And now I'm happy he lost because and they consider me the spoiler. Really, you knew since April I was going to be in the race. So a spoiler to me would be the person who showed up yesterday.
Yeah. Now the spoiler in our race, if you ask me, the spoiler in our race is Robert Neal. The guy has ran. This is his third time running. He ran twice for sheriff before that. I think he and I probably the largest pool of voters that anyone has in common. Bert Saunders and Connie Mack are splitting the Republicans, and I think we're going to be splitting up the Democrats if we're successful and if we can get our message out there. Which is what we have to work on. Now, there's a couple things that we need to do.
Well, I think we need to keep saying, he lives in Palm Springs. Yeah,
and that's an important point. But if we don't, if we don't raise some money, the first thing we have to do is we got to get signs out.
Right.
I'm going back and forth with the printer now.
I know in Cape Coral you can't do it until 30 days before the election. I found that out after I put them all out. I had to go take them all down.
Oh, really?
Yes, I had a big fight with the code enforcement guy over there.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Right.
We just drove past the big.
I told him I wish you were just as diligent with Little Havana on the other side of Cape Coral Parkway as you are with my campaign sign being 4 days too early.
Yeah, but but we need to get the signs out there, and the reason I haven't done that is because I don't have any money. Right now I have about $7 in the campaign account.
I know how that is.
So we've got to focus on fundraising, and the other thing that we need to raise money for is, remember I told you we have the publicist. Mm-hmm. I figure between now and the election we should be able to stage two big press events. Basically, I want to do some media stunts, and that's what we got to talk about. We got to figure out what issues are really going to resonate with people, and what we can do for a big media circus type event.
Well, one good thing that you have is that all of them have been in office. You haven't.
Right.
And Bert Saunders is a nice guy, and I'm getting that birthday card. But if he's really concerned about energy, he's been in Congress and up in wherever he's been for at least 8, 10, 16 years.
Well, he's vulnerable on a lot of things. I mean, aside from the fact that he's a career politician, mm-hmm. Which never goes down good with anybody. The energy issue is one. And another thing.
And he's been from Florida. He lives in Florida, and there's no solar programs anywhere in Florida. And every rooftop in Florida over the last 2, 3, 4 terms that he's been in office, including Connie Mack, everyone should have been on solar.
We're on education. I mean, Florida is
the worst.
We're not number 48. Healthcare. We have. I think we're the second or third state with the most uninsured, right after Texas. Right. Across the board. I mean, you don't have to attack Bert. I mean, just his record. The state of Florida record speaks for itself.
Right. And then you got Mr. Palm Springs, so you need to focus on where is he when during now with the crap overflown in Sanibel, which has been an issue for 4 years. That's what I said. Remember at the Lehigh thing.
What I want to do, maybe we can start doing this maybe this week, is I want to go to all of the Connie Mack's offices here in the area and see if we can.
That's where he is.
Yeah, where's he at?
Come in like hard copy.
Yeah.
Have you seen Connie? Is he still in Palm Springs? What I'm saying? Do we have to go to Palm Springs to find him? Or maybe don't they have a home in Maryland too? Because that's where somewhere in Washington. No, right? Because they said that if he's not in Palm Springs or Florida, then he's in the one where his first wife is. Mm-hmm. I love all these people. They get all remarried, and the Republicans. I thought they were the family value people. How many families do you need?
Yeah. Well, did you see?
OJ just kills his family members, so it makes it a lot easier.
Sarah Palin announced her 17-year-old daughter.
I know, I heard that today.
So.
And here McCain was picking on Brittany.
Yeah.
Now, if I was Brittany, I'd say, listen, you're picking on me and my sister. I got news for you. Everybody's getting, happy.
Yeah.
So I almost fade to it. I'm shaving when that happened.
I think Sarah Palin. I guess the oil industry felt like since they're losing Condoleezza Rice and Dick Cheney, they needed an insider back in the administration. So
I don't think she's going to make it. I don't think that's going to help because she's pro-choice. I mean, she's against pro-choice, and regardless of what you feel about childbirth, it's up to the woman.
Right.
She's the one that's carrying the baby, and I don't think what's next? And they're going to tell men that they have to be circumcised or they got to be fixed. I mean, if you start telling people, how
the problem with McCain is he hasn't been able to get his Republican base energized around him, so he wanted to solve.
Unless he could lose 20 years in age, I don't think anything's going to help because nobody really wants the same 4 terms again, and nobody wants an 80-year-old. I don't care if he's 72. To me, that's like 80, and and he doesn't even know how to work a computer or a laptop, and basically he doesn't even know whether we're fighting the war. That he has Lieberman tell him half the time where the war is, and secondly, he doesn't even realize a lot of things. And I don't want somebody old. I want somebody new, fresh, and invigorating, and that isn't Obama either, in my opinion. But I'm going with Ralph Nader because he saved us from the Corvette. So.
I know there's a lot of Bob Barr fans around here too.
I know Bob Barr, but he's a career politician too. I mean, he was a Republican, wasn't he? I think he switched to be a Libertarian because he didn't give him the nomination. I don't want any of those old people. I like Ralph Nader only because he's never really won anything, and he only owns a 1-bedroom home in Washington and donates $25 million a year to charity. He has a set belief that he doesn't want to live on more than $30,000 a year. He doesn't own a car. He doesn't even have a license. He rides his bike everywhere, and that's what you need: somebody who really wants to save people. And I just think unfortunately they call him the spoiler, but I think between the two that are running now, in my opinion, you really need somebody that doesn't really care about money, and he doesn't. He's donating $20 million a year to charities.
Officially, the campaign, we're not endorsing anybody for president. Basically, we're not taking sides. Officially, the campaign, our position is it doesn't matter who becomes the next president. So much power has been ceded away from the legislative branch to the executive branch that we need to restore the constitutional system of checks and balances. Aside from restoring the Constitution in general, in terms of civil rights.
That irks me. That private secrecy business makes me crazy. Especially that Yahoo and American Airlines, AOL and all them have to give up their private people and what they're sending messages back. Well, please, what is this? Russia?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't subscribe to any of those people that are going to be doing that. Not that I have anything to hide. It's just the principle of the thing.
Yeah. No. It's one of the things that was frustrating with Obama is he folded on the telecom immunity thing.
Right.
Because that's a big issue. Because basically, if every telecom had folded and handed over the information, then I would say they had no choice. But there were holdouts. There were a couple companies that said, no, it's illegal what you're asking. We're not going to do it. And
I just think it's wrong. I don't even think the judges. I don't understand why the judges at the Supreme Court don't stop it. I mean, I thought they said they follow the Constitution. Well, that's what the Constitution says. And that's why I wish the Supreme Court judges weren't lifetime members either. I think there shouldn't be anything in life. Life is not guaranteed other than death and taxes. So I don't understand why that job is so like the weatherman. I'm coming back as a weatherman in my next life because no matter what happens, you never get fired for being the weather. They said fame was going to be dangerous, and people wrote me because I wasn't going to take my signs down on the news press. I said no, I'm not taking them down because half the time they're wrong and I was right. And I'm thinking, please, I'm coming back as a weatherman. There's no way you can get fired from that job.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, being a congressman, it's tough to get them out too. I mean, the incumbents' re-election rates around 96%.
The Supreme Court members. I don't understand who started that they should stay forever.
Well, the idea is that you want one branch that has some permanence, that you want some stability.
I understand that, but if they're not going to follow the Constitution, then out. Because I thought the forefather said that you can't wiretap unless you had a search warrant, and companies like the telecommunications isn't supposed to be giving things to the government. Why does who died and left the government in boss?
Eventually, when it makes its way to the Supreme Court.
Believe me, it's not going to happen because that one member goes fishing with Cheney. Remember, they were fishing and one went hunting and got shot.
I have to say, a lot of people had concerns about the Roberts and Scalia.
They still do.
But the last couple of rulings that they've come down with, I mean, they're still they may be conservatives, but they're still judges, and I mean they have still basically every major case that the Bush administration has had that's come up before the Supreme Court involving civil rights and especially the Guantanamo cases, they've lost every case. So,
well, we still haven't seen Karl Rove go into jail, and we haven't seen Harry Myers up there, and the Supreme Court said that he can use executive privilege. Really, I mean,
the Supreme Court hasn't ruled on that yet.
So. Well, how come Karl Rove's still floating around?
Because
now he's on the Fox News, that Fair and Balanced channel.
Yeah.
They're about as fair and balanced as OJ's killing.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, and this is a problem. We have Bush has has laid the groundwork for an imperial executive.
Right, just like Putin.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, we don't have a dictatorship, or we don't have, by any stretch of the imagination in this country. But everything has been basically over the last 8 years is every safeguard for states' rights, for individual rights. Excuse me. There's been a law that has been passed that essentially the federal government can waive it in case of an emergency. One of the things.
How come the people don't have a law like that? Whenever we see those cases where the people can enact a law that says you're too dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, one of the things that happened after Katrina, which was totally unjustified, was basically it's always been that in order for the government to send federal troops into a state, they have to have the state's permission first.
Right.
One of the things that they passed, basically they waived posse comitatus, which is allows federal troops to operate on U.S. soil, and the federal government can override a state governor in the case of an emergency. But the way that an emergency is defined is it's defined so broadly that it's essentially anything that the federal government says is an emergency, they can send in troops into a state.
If Iraq doesn't show you that they can do it, then I don't know what will. You know what I'm saying? We came marching in there too without any permission, and that didn't stop us.
One of the things I
I
really want to do with the debates and the discourse is I really want to steer things as much as possible onto foreign policy.
Right.
And there's two reasons for this. Number one, foreign policy is my strength, and I think foreign policy is also both Connie Mack and Bert Saunders' biggest weakness, because so far everything I've heard from both of them, I know for a fact with Connie Mack, but also from what I've heard from Bert Saunders, is they have they're looking at a sort of McCain-style continuation of Bush foreign policy.
Right. Well, Connie Mack too, because look at
I know. Connie Mack's a loyal Bushie.
Right.
So there's no question about that. And from everything that I've heard from Bert Saunders on foreign policy, it sounds like he's heading in the same direction.
Drinking for oil, that's a big sign right there.
Now, there's something that is going to be decided more than likely before the election. So it's not really an election issue, but it is an important campaign issue. Is an attack on Iran. This is something I want to bring up again and again to call attention to it, to make sure that we can do everything in our power to prevent it from happening. Because the fallout from an attack on Iran is going to make the Iraq invasion look like a Boy Scout jamboree. Because Iran is a real regional power.
I think it's going to happen.
And if it happens, what everyone's looking at, unfortunately, is everyone's looking at the military the military potential. No question about it, the attack's going to be successful. No question about it militarily, even as stretched as thin as we are. We can win any fight with Iran. The problem is what's going to happen economically. Is China, and particularly Russia now, aren't going to sit still. They've been putting together major partnerships, with Iran.
I know, look, you marched into Georgia.
Yeah, and Georgia's an interesting case of our problem with foreign policy is we don't stand up for human rights. We don't stand up for the international rule of law. We stand up for whoever our buddy at the moment happens to be, whoever's serving short-term American interests. And Georgia's a perfect case. There's no good guys there.
Right.
The president of Georgia launched a full-out assault on South Ossetia, which was the Russian peacekeeping troops were actually there under UN mandate. So. All right. Yeah, they were there with the consent of the international community. And South Ossetia is a perfect example of how we take sides. We set the precedent in Kosovo that if everybody in an area wants to break away, then they should be allowed to form their own country.
Right.
And actually during Kosovo, Russia used South Ossetia as an example. They said, okay, let's put these two together. we will support Kosovo if you support South Ossetia. South Ossetia is about 90% Russian.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. And they had a referendum. They had a democratic referendum, and it was like 98, 99% of the people in South Ossetia said they wanted to become part of the Russian Federation. But because Georgia, we're trying to run a pipeline through Georgia, and because the president is basically a U.S. protege, we decided to take the side of Georgia. And this is a case where if we stood for the rule of law and we stood for human rights, then basically what we would have done a long time ago, and this isn't just the U.S., this is Europe as well, we would have said South Ossetia is like Kosovo. They should be allowed. They've had a referendum. They want to break away. It should be a peaceful break to join the Russian Federation. So instead, you have Georgia attacking the state and Russia invading. And Russia totally overreacted.
Right, I think so
it was
too.
certainly disproportionate, but it's no different from what the Israelis did 2 years ago in Lebanon. It's the exact same scenario. There was a military provocation, and they went crazy on the attacking country. It's no different. You can't say unilateral invasion is wrong after we got done invading Iraq. We have to restore the rule of law.
Right.
There has to be a standard.
Well, that's why they
applies
should
to
have impeached
everybody.
Bush and Cheney immediately.
I agree.
I don't understand why we're not.
And again, this has
they wanted to get rid of Mike Clinton just because he had sex.
And the problem is that not only did you have a situation where the Republicans were backing their candidate, but the Democrats in Congress are cowards. They are spineless weasels.
That's what
And
change is good.
And the reason that they never impeached Bush was because they were afraid it would make Bush more popular. This is what happened with Clinton. They were afraid that politically it wasn't viable. And there's a few people in the Democratic Party, like Dennis Kucinich is a good example.
I love Dennis Kucinich.
Who has been rallying for impeachment. And again, this comes back to...
Wake up, America! Wake up, America! I know, that's my line. I said that Dennis must have been doing campaigns.
And this is,
I love that, Dennis.
I do too. And this is
It took him 5 tries to get to Congress.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened with Dennis. As he got nominated, he got elected as mayor, and he took on Muni Power and Light.
Right, and then
they wanted to sell Muni Power and Light.
Well, that's why I think there's hope for us. If it took him 5 tries, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm up to my second. You know what I'm saying?
So
There's more to go.
So these, this is the foreign policy thing is a big issue, and the reason I want to try and keep it in the forefront is my concern is if there is an attack on Iran before the election. Things are going to go south really quick.
I think so.
Because the economic fallout is going to be immediate. Not only are you going to see oil hit $200, $250 a barrel overnight, but oil prices are tied to the value of the dollar. And then one of the reasons the oil was going up and up is because the dollar has been getting progressively weaker and weaker. It picked up a little strength. The value of the dollar...
I think they should nationalize gas. I've been saying that for years. People think I'm crazy, but listen, why is the cable company regulated when that's a luxury item? You can live without cable. Nobody says you need cable. If I was a cable company owner, I'd be fighting. Why am I regulated? You're not regulating the gas people. And we're a luxury just like they are. Nobody says you have to drive. But, gas is for a lot of things that you need it for, making plastic and everything else, and emergency vehicles. Where, you're regulating the power company and you're regulating the phone company. I don't understand it. How come you're not regulating the fuel? If I was running this country, believe you me, I would be opening up those reserves faster than you could say Martha Stewart, and then